Good morning, everybody. Dave Schmidt along with Matt Nestor and producer Tom Warner. Time to shift gears a little bit. We're going to talk some men's college basketball. And with us, we have the brand new head basketball coach at Rockford University. He's a Boylan grad. His name is Andrew Weber. Hey, Coach, good to have you on today.
Hey, thanks for having me on, guys. I greatly appreciate it.
Hey, one thing I know, you have a valedictorian on your team for next year. I see where Brett Ott was the valedictorian. He's giving a speech today for the Sobos. That's kind of cool, isn't it?
Very, very interesting. As far as I know, it's the first valedictorian that we've had part of our program. And then, again, like we've talked about before, Brett's the true definition of student-athlete to the max.
You know, it's a little bit different recruiting for the four-year level as opposed to what Rock Valley's been able to do. But, you know, when you take over and kind of look at the recruiting scene, how much has what they've been able to do with local kids maybe kind of get you to maybe try to look a little bit more at some of the local kids and really try to build the program that way?
That was my goal number one, is there's a ton of talent in this area, in the northern Illinois area, that our goal is to try to keep as many talented young men as we can at home and make Rockford University a very good option academically and athletically for them.
You know, and to that point, you know, you get a kid like Brett Ott who's a very good player. You know, I know he needs to probably add on some weight, but, you know, dynamite score. You know, how big of a get is something like that for Rockford University, especially for you coming in?
I think it's a big get for us. It's somebody that's going to represent the school very well, and I think he's going to set a foundation for other local guys, just because I know we've talked about the same goals of keeping players here and here, and he helped out on this recruiting class too, try to help out as much as possible in his role too. So I think it's going to be a good foundation for us. I think we already have a good foundation of returners, student-athletes for us from the local area that I think kind of flew underneath the radar while they're in high school, and as long as we continue to have success, I think that's going to be showcased as well.
You know, you look at your situation, you know, about the middle of the year, the head coach decides to step down. They put you in as the interim. They decide that you're the man for the job. You get the job. But it's kind of a nice situation for you. You understand the program. You've been there for a while. The kids know you and all those things. So has it been a good fit for you to be the head coach now, Coach Weber?
I think so. It took a little bit of an adjustment period when I first took over for the interim, but about the second or third week after the change, we kind of hit our stride and made some good progress. We had a nice 3-game winning streak. We played some games tough, came up a little bit short in some games, but I think the biggest thing that we learned as a whole program is what it's going to take to win and win consistently.
You know, how different is it recruiting at that level? You know, I know you kind of talked about trying to find the players that maybe were under the radar a little bit. I'm sure, obviously, you'd love to get somebody in, you know, like an Antoine Pittman, you know, at Auburn, but you know, they go to that Division I level. So what do you kind of look for at that level? You know, obviously, you'd love to get the great player in like a Brett Ott, but, you know, sometimes you do have to kind of look for that hidden gem, don't you?
We do. And it helps having a lot of homework done on everybody, and we're going to get out there and we're going to talk to coaches, and a lot of coaches have been great in helping us and spotting some guys that, like I said, might be underneath the radar, but if they get in the right system and they continue to work and develop, their best basketball might be ahead of them.
And, you know, I know with Brett, his main goal is to get an education, and being a valedictorian, that kind of made your job easier because you can offer a valedictorian in a D3 school a lot of options away from the athletics that makes Rockford University look really special to him.
Yes. Academics are important to us. Our goal as a program, as day one, is to make sure our kids graduate. And someone like Brett, who is a valedictorian, I feel like we're not going to have to worry about his academics too much when he starts school in August. And for us, that's what we really look for, is somebody that's going to come in and do their job in the classroom first and foremost, and then let the basketball stuff come second.
You know, as you kind of get in and take over the program full time, you know, what are some of your goals for the program? Where would you like to take things?
We want to take the next step. For a while there, we had a nice streak of 5 consecutive appearances in the conference tournament. Unfortunately, the last couple of years, we've kind of just fallen a little bit short of it. But my goal is to consistently be in the conference tournament, and then hopefully we can take that next step and get in a big dance.
We know about Brett Ott. Who else have you signed up for next year? And talk about some of the players that are coming back that's going to help you out next season.
Brett was a big commit for us. We've got a couple other kids that are in the northern Illinois area. What I consider is I-80 North for us is a big recruiting ground. We got a couple kids down there. And for us, returning-wise, we're fortunate enough that we return 8 of our top 10 players, including all 5 starters from last year's team, with Zach Wallace, who went to Berean, played a little bit of Belvedere. We got Ross Artiega and Trey Bloomhurst from Mendota. We got Michael Murray, who was a dual-sport athlete for us at Rockford, playing baseball and basketball. And then we got a second-team all-conference two-guard that was second in the conference in scoring, and John O'Brien. So we return a lot, but like I said, we still need to continue to get better to be able to reach our goals that we have.
You know, what's important for a player like Zach Wallace to get better? You know, I know you talk about somebody under the radar playing at Berean Baptist. Not a lot of people knew about him. Like you said, played a little bit at Belvedere. You know, what's important for him to maybe kind of take a next step?
For him, it's to continually add strength. He's a kid that's kind of always been the biggest kid on the floor, being 6'8". But if he can continue to add strength and get in the weight room, which he's done a good job of so far in his first 2 years, we're hoping, and we've talked to him a lot about, is taking that next step from being really, really good to being great and being able to utilize that.
You know, Coach, we talked a couple of weeks ago that, Beloit College just across the border there. Why in the world don't you guys get in the same conference? Is there a reason for that? Or, just a question I never asked anybody before. You're the first one.
I'm not sure on that. I just try to schedule games as we get them. But we always try to Coach Vrain is a great guy. We always try to figure out a schedule. I know their conference has different rules for limitations on games and things like that, so it's a little bit tough for both of us to try to find that. But yeah, you would make sense that two schools 15, 20 minutes apart from each other would be able to play in a conference. But the conference we're in is pretty tough, and we got to compete every night in our own conference.
You know, you're a kid that played in the area, and now you're coaching in the area here at Rockford. Comparing eras, I guess, how do you see the Rockford basketball scene as compared to when you were playing?
It's different. I think the guys today are more athletic. They're a little bit quicker compared to the guys I played. I think it was a little bit more on the fundamentals and skill-wise. But I think it's just as competitive, just not as many big names out there consistently. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of talented players that, maybe don't go to Division I level that are very, very good high school players, and that's what we need to respect them as very good high school players, because that's what they are.
We're talking with Rockford University head men's basketball coach Andrew Weber. I know you're a Boylan grad. Can you tell us who had some big influence on you as a player back in those days, and also as a college through the venture you've taken so far?
Being a Boylan grad and growing up going to Coach Coors' camps, all the players kind of had an impact on me. I remember going to camp younger, having Joe Tully and the Jeff Myers and the Demirs as camp counselors, so it was cool. And watching them grow up and obviously go on and do big, great things. But I guess the one player that's kind of always had a impact on me would have to be my older brother. He kind of led the way, showing what hard work can do for you, and I kind of followed in his footsteps and shadows, whether he liked it or not, following to the gym every single day for his 4 years of high school.
How much does that push you, I guess, when you were coming up playing? Because your brother was a great player as well. How much does that push you just to maybe try to one up him once you got to that level?
It played a big impact for me. I wanted to do what he did and more. But at the same time, he was supporting me. It wasn't necessarily a competition of trying to see what I could do to be better than him or maybe achieve something different that he didn't. Although it seemed like there wasn't much that he didn't achieve, but it had an impact, and it still does. We talk all the time. sharing coaching tips and everything. Now that he's coaching and I'm coaching, and it's fun. Looking back on it, it was a great experience to be able to follow in his footsteps and at the same time also leave an imprint of my own.
From a coaching standpoint, how much do you kind of think back to, you got to play for a coach like Coach Goers? How much did that impact you, and any other coaches that you've maybe played for along the way or coached under that have impacted maybe the way you coach?
Coach Goers had a lot of impact, and we still talk today. I talked to him all the time about things that maybe I could do in practice or workouts and things like that. He had a lot of impact. Another guy that had a lot of impact on me was my dad. He didn't coach high school sports, but he coached youth sports and middle school basketball. For me growing up, so him and Coach Goers both had a huge impact on me. The X's and O's, but also just the relationships with players and making sure that that's more important than anything else.
Well, D3 is a little bit different animal than D2, D1, even NAIA. Why do you like being at the D3 level, Coach?
I feel like it's more of school and basketball and not much of a business. I get to talk to guys every single day, and we get to talk about a lot of things, and our guys don't feel like they're being dominated and held back from being a student athlete and being a college student. It's fun. It's exciting. Our guys are always in our office coming down and just talking. A lot of times it's about the NBA playoffs and the NCAA tournament and things like that. But having those one-on-one relationships where our players feel it's more than just a coach-player. It's somebody that is there to help them, and those kind of relationships are what, to me, what makes coaching fun.
I was going to say, a lot of people talk, or want to look at X's and O's when they talk about a coach, but it really is about that relationship building, isn't it?
Yes. The players don't trust the coach, and the coach don't trust the players. No matter how good the X's and O's are, you're not going to have the success that you're capable of.
And you guys spend a lot of time together on those bus rides, too, don't you?
Yes, we do. The good part is our conference is we don't travel too far. I think the first road game we had was just under 3 hours, but everything else is kind of right around that 2-hour limit. And yes, we spent a lot of good times on the bus rides, 2 games and back.
When you look at your career, what would you like to say about your time at Rockford University someday when you're hanging them up like when you're 70 years old, Coach?
I hope they say that I gave it my best, that I turned around the program and left it in a better shape than it was when I first got there. I'm not saying that it's not in a good shape now, but we want to build on success, and hopefully they can say that. And the players that I get the opportunity to coach, they can say that they enjoyed it, that I cared about them and helped them in any way possible.
Well, thanks, Coach, for taking time to be on. Congratulations on that new position, and we'll keep an eye on Rockford University this year.
Thank you for having me on, and continue to support you guys and what you guys do for local athletes.
Thanks so much, Coach. We've been talking to Rockford University head men's basketball coach Andrew Weber. I think he's got a foot up on a lot of people because he is from here.
Yeah,
he knows people.
It's going to be a big help in his recruiting because he knows all the coaches. He grew up as a great player with a great family. His brother was a great player as well. So he knows all these coaches that are out there. And if there's anybody that's probably looking at that Division III level, or maybe even that's thinking about a low Division II as opposed to, he's going to have a leg up on it because he's going to know these guys. I think the coaches will give him a good endorsement, and he'll do a good job of building that relationship with those players too. And I think it'll be interesting to see what happens. Rock Valley has done great with local kids. Now it's a lot different to, I think recruit at Rockford University than it is Rock Valley. Being that Rock Valley is a junior college, it's 2 years. I know there's some difference in enrollment and things like that. But I think he can do a good job of, maybe it won't be all local kids like it is at Rock Valley, it seems, but I think he'll be able to find the right kids, bring them into that program and do some good things.
Both campuses are beautiful.
Yes.
So that's one thing they both have. It's very nice. It's kind of fortunate to have schools like Rockford University and Rock Valley College.